everyone, it's Leslie. So today I'm here with a very different video. If you read the title of this video, then you kind of know what it's going to be about. So I have a medical condition called endometriosis, and I'm going to be talking about it because I think a lot of people don't know about it, and it affects so many people. And yeah, I had actually edited and was about to upload another video, but I wanted to talk about this today. So yeah, so endometriosis is a disorder in which your lining in your uterus grows outside of your lining. It may grow on your ovaries, fallopian tubes, and even on your intestines. And what happens is that whenever you shed that lining every month, it's really painful, and there's just a lot of symptoms like pelvic pain. Some people throw up, some people run fevers. So yeah, and a little backstory to this, I actually wasn't diagnosed until I was 17, and at that point in my life I had been menstruating for 7 years. So yeah, I got my first period when I was in 3rd grade, and I didn't get it again until I was in 4th grade. And after that I began to get it more frequently, but it was not regular by any means. And then finally, when I was about 13 or in the 7th grade, is when I started getting really, really painful periods. I would have to take days off of school from 2 to 3, and it was really hard because, I was missing school, but also I was being told by other people that that's just the way it was, that I was over-exaggerating, cramps didn't hurt that bad, and I just could not understand how people lived like this. And it was really hard, but I went to a doctor, I went to a gyno, and she was like, okay, not really sure what's going on, let's try a few things out. So I think I was 14 or 15, I want to say 15, when I finally went. And the only reason that my mom took me was because I had a really bad spell, I guess, where I ran a fever and I was throwing up. And of course, everyone thought I was over-exaggerating, just being dramatic. It was really painful, and she took me to the ER. And the doctor I got, he was like, look, I'm just going to prescribe you ibuprofen because it's not like a stomach bug. You say you're on your period, it's probably just cramps. And my mom was like, she was really upset because she thought I was just making this up, and like, she had taken me to the hospital, and the doctor was telling her that, it was probably just cramps, and essentially gave me, like a prescribed pain reliever, which was the equivalent to taking Advil. And I was like, no, I'm not lying. And so she took me to a gyno. And there, my gynecologist was like, okay, let's try a couple of things. So that's the first time I was on birth control. I was put on this pill called low estrogen. And like a lot of other things, it worked for a while. And the thing is, with endometriosis, surgery is the only thing that will for sure get rid of it. Whereas everything else is kind of used to suppress it. So stop you from having cramps that are painful, stop you from having your period at all, but they're not meant to completely get rid of it. So I was on Loestrin for about a year, and then it stopped working. And my grandma believes in herbal medicine, and she was like, okay, let's go try something else. And I tried raspberry leaf tea, but at the same time I was also taking these pills that were also like made from herbs. I can't remember what they're called, but taking those two things helped a lot. And so I was taking them for a while until they stopped working, and then I went back to my gyno and I was like, look, I've done this, I've taken this birth control, I've taken herbal medicine, I've tried exercising while I'm on my period, I've tried doing all these other things, and nothing is helping. And she was like, okay, well, let's run an ultrasound to make sure you don't have ovarian cyst. So I had to come back another day having chugged a gallon of water, and I got an ultrasound done, but no cyst. And so she was like, well, that's good, we've ruled that out, but there's still not a for sure thing. And she kind of thought about it and was like, I think I know what it is, but the only way we could truly find out is if you were to have surgery. And I was like, well, what do you think it is? And she told me that she thought it was endometriosis. And she seemed very sure, because the symptoms were there. I didn't have cyst. I had struggled with this for various years. At this point, I was 17, and so it had been about 4 years since I had 4 years that I had been seeing her, but way longer that I had been dealing with this. And so she was like, yeah, I think this is it. And I remember my mom kind of just looked at me and was like, so this is an actual medical condition? And she was like, yeah. And I felt relief, because no one really believed me except her. And even then, it was very difficult to get a diagnosis. And I had essentially been told that other people knew my body better than I did, by telling me, no, that's not what's happening, or no, you're not cramping that bad, you're just being dramatic. And that was really, really hard. But having a clear diagnosis, or as close to a diagnosis as we could get without surgery, was such a relief. And so my gyno said that she had a couple options for me, but recommended I get the depot shot. And essentially the depot shot is a type of birth control that you get every 3 months, and it stops your periods. And because it would stop my period, it would stop the lining from shedding, and I agreed. And I think that being on depot was the best and worst thing I could have done. I really wish I had been warned more of the side effects and maybe even done my own research, because I currently am no longer on depot, but it is still affecting me. I've been off for over a year and the side effects have not worn off, and it's made my endometriosis flare-ups even worse. I was on it for definitely a year and a half. And the reason I stopped was because my health insurance dropped me, and I could not afford to get it. And I tried to go to Planned Parenthood, and I got it once, but on my sheet, right, that you have to fill out with if you have any medical conditions or whatnot, I told them I had a heart condition, and they wanted medical records saying that it was okay that I get the shot, and that like nothing, it would not affect my heart or cause any problems. And my doctor was not very cooperative. I had to pay money to get those records sent over, which was really expensive, and I did not have enough money. And so I couldn't, and they couldn't give me the shot. So I wasn't able to take it, or to get it. And then I just stopped being on it. And after the 3 months, so once I skipped my last shot, is when things started getting really bad. So I dealt with a non-stop period from December till about end of March, April, and then I didn't get it, and then like from like May to July it was just spotting, which was very infrequent but annoying, and finally in August I started to get a period. However, it's very heavy and I am cramping very bad, so I have these flare-ups constantly, and I'm in the middle of one right now, and so I'm back to square one. Yeah, so I just really don't know what to do, and the thing that gets me is that this is something that affects so many people who menstruate, yet there is very few research. There's also inaccurate research about it. It's just this constant living in pain, and then having to deal with provider bias, so people not believing you. There's just so many barriers for me to be able to get the health services I need. This is part of the reason why I'm very big on reproductive rights, health, and justice, because essentially it's about having control over my body, or lack thereof, and having so many barriers to being able to get the services that I need, and then people just not believing what is right for me or what is best for me, and yeah, like I know my body better than other people, and if I say that I need something, then that's what I need. And obviously this is not just an issue for people with endometriosis, it's an issue for a lot of other people, and so I think that the point of making this video is to share my experience, and to also let you guys know that this is an issue people are dealing with, and it's not fair, and it's about time we do something about it. And with that being said, I want to give a really big disclaimer that I should have given at the beginning of this video. These are my experiences. This is what I have had to deal with. Taking low estrogen did not work for me. It may work for someone else. Taking herbal medicine did not work for me. It may work for someone else. Being on Depo did not work for me. It may work for someone else. And we all have very different bodies, and so it makes sense that something is going to work for someone else that isn't going to work for you. And I just want to put that out there because I am a strong believer in birth control, and I'm very happy that, it's something that people can have access to, because not everyone has access to it, right? So yeah, I'm not like bashing it or anything. It's just not working for me. So yeah, hopefully you learned something from this video. And maybe this has inspired you to be an advocate for people who have endometriosis, or other disorders or just reproductive health in general. And I will leave some links in the description of different websites where I got some info from, and accurate information at that, any myths or whatnot. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions regarding endometriosis, I don't know everything, but I can share my experiences more in depth with you all. Like I said, I'll leave resources in the description. And yeah, just know that if this is something you're going through, you're not alone. And hopefully we'll figure out how to combat this together. So, see you guys next time.